Good morning, everyone. We are so excited to see all of you here today. I'm Carla Hayden, Librarian of Congress, and I just love to see how everyone is fired up about books and reading. We're celebrating the 24th Annual Library of Congress National Book Festival. And as co-chairs of the festival, Mr. David Rubenstein and I are thrilled to open the festival to everyone here in the Washington Convention Center and for everyone watching online. Thank you all for joining us. Now, the theme of this year's festival is Books Build Us Up. And this is a time more than ever for everyone in our community of readers to spotlight the vital value of books. They allow diverse voices to be heard, broad topics to be learned, and dynamic engagement. And I'm sure the people watching and the people right here know how just a single book can change a life, how books unlock life's wonders, and how they teach us to live and flourish. Now, we couldn't do this without our generous sponsors, donors, and partners. And thanks to the festival co-chair, David M. Rubenstein, for his continuing support of this literary tradition. We have charter sponsors, General Motors, the Institute of Museum and Library Services, and the James Madison Council, the library's philanthropic arm. You may clap for those people, because this year we have for General Motors a STEM district on the expo floor, so it's wonderful. And our patrons, AARP, you definitely. The CEO of AARP started with First Lady Laura Bush in 2001, the first festival. The CoStar Group, give her first librarian, could be First Lady. CoStar Group, the John W. Kluge Center, and the National Endowment for the Arts and the National Endowment for the Humanities are partners in so many ways. And our champions, our new champions, the Friends of the Library of Congress. Now, we also have media partners led by NPR and, of course, C-SPAN, Book TV. And I hope you all know that all of our exhibitors are many hardworking library staff members and volunteers who you'll see in these really nice rose T-shirts, and most notably the Junior League of Washington, who supported this festival since 2003. And we hope that you remember that the Library of Congress is devoted to you. The library's staff and collections are here to help you connect to the library and your history and your story. We're here for you, and every one of you can contribute to our campaign that we have to make more connections, because your support makes events like the Book Festival possible. And even as we celebrate today, we embrace the possibilities of tomorrow. In fact, you can be part of helping us preserve history and expand our reach by joining the Friends of the Library. In fact, we have a table right outside. But if you'd like to join us online, you can do that too, because your support extends the reach of the library and allows people everywhere to benefit from the riches of the Library of Congress, because they're yours. And now, let me introduce one of the best friends of the Library of Congress that we could ever have, Mr. David Rubenstein. In addition to chairing this festival, he also chairs the library's, come on out, David, the library's James Madison Council. He's a private supporter in many ways, and without him, we truly could not be here at the Convention Center for free for all of you. Mr. David M. Rubenstein.
Thank you very much. Thank you. So, Carla Hayden is the Librarian of Congress. She is now in her 8th year as Librarian of Congress, and she's done an incredible job showing that you don't have to be an old white man to be the Librarian of Congress. And she's really re-energized the National Book Festival, which was really begun under our predecessor, Jim Billington, and inspired by Laura Bush. There had not been a National Book Festival in Washington. At the inauguration of George W. Bush, Laura Bush said to Jim Billington, then the Librarian of Congress, do you have a National Book Festival? And he said quickly, we will. And we do. So it's incredible that we now have this 200,000 person event. How many people have never been to the National Book Festival? Anybody? Oh, wow. How many people have never been in this building before? Oh, wow. How many people have never been to Washington before? Anybody? Okay. So what we're going to do today is have a very good time appreciating books. And how many people here read at least 5 books a year? Oh, wow. How many people read 10 books a year? 15? 20? 25 books a year? How many people read 50 books a year? Anybody? Oh, wow. Anybody read 100 books a year? Wow. Okay. Okay, so we're going to have some of the best authors in the United States and around the world, and I'm going to introduce and interview the most prolific author, the best-selling author in the Western world, James Patterson. James Patterson has his books have sold more than 700 million copies. 700 million copies, that's a lot. He is the winner of the National Humanities Medal. He's won 10 Emmy Awards. He has written books with famous people like Dolly Parton and Bill Clinton, but also he's written an enormous number of books by himself. And it's my pleasure and honor to introduce now and ask to come to the stage James Patterson. Yes. Hey.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Hi, I'm Stephen King.
Okay.
All right. That's where we're going.
So thank you for coming.
Thank you for inviting me.
So let me ask you.
So who turned it down before you went?
Oh.
Just kidding, just messing around here.
So how many books do you write a year?
I'm not a counter, so we just do what we do, and you can open it for me.
This is a special secret to open this. Okay, there you go. Okay.
Right. Strong hands.
So, like for example, do you just sit down during the day and say, I'm going to write a book on this subject, and how long does it take you to write a book?
Pretty much everything takes a year, but it's a lot of at the same time. And you want to co-write something?
I'd like to, yeah.
On the stage?
Because I would sell a lot more books if I saw one co-write with you.
Red ties, we'll go somewhere with the red tie.
I have the only tie. Does anybody else have a tie on today? I'm the only person.
Unity, so, joy. Not getting political.
So let me ask you, many authors spend their life getting ready to be an author, but they start doing it when they're in their teens, their 20s and 30s. You went into the advertising world.
No. Don't bring that up. For starters, I've been clean for over 25 years. So I don't know why you would go there. That's really terrible.
But were you not in the advertising world?
Fifth Amendment.
Okay.
Yes, I was, but I was writing way before that.
You were, okay.
Yeah, no, I was very lucky, lucky in a sense. When I was 25, I wrote a book called The Thomas Berriman Number, turned down by 31 publishers. It then won an Edgar as Best First Mystery, so go figure that one out. So no, I was writing before I got into advertising. I worked at a mental hospital, McLean Hospital. James Taylor was a patient there, which was very cool. This was before he was famous. And he used to go in the coffee shop, and he would sing, Sweet Baby James and Fire and Rain and stuff like that. And he'd be this close to him, and it was great. And Robert Lowell was there, the poet. And somebody says you're lucky if you find something you like to do, then it's a miracle if somebody will pay you to do it.
All right, but so for example,
writing.
You're in advertising.
Oh, you keep going back there.
You weren't in advertising?
I was in advertising,
Advertising.
and I mean, I wrote the line, I don't want to go up, I'm a Toys R Us kid.
Okay. When did you write your first book that became a bestseller? When
What?
was your first book that was a bestseller?
That was quite a while later. Actually, it was I did a nonfiction book, A Day America Told the Truth. That was the first bestseller. And then I wrote the Alice Cross books. The first one was Along Came a Spider, yeah.
So
We have a new Alice Cross coming on
most
Amazon.
historically,
You want answers or do you want questions? What do you want?
well, you said to be quick. All right. Most authors.
What is this, like an interrogate? The lawyer, right?
Right,
He's got
I
me
am
on
a
the
lawyer.
stand. No, it's good. It's all good.
Most
we have to
authors.
do this in Florida, too. Are you going to do it a
Okay.
second time? I doubt it.
So, as a general rule of thumb, most authors write either fiction or nonfiction. But you write both. Is that right? Is that fair to say?
I don't know. Probably not. But yeah, no, we're all over the law. I do a fair amount. The first nonfiction that kind of got me hooked, I wrote a book about Jeffrey Epstein, Filthy Rich. And this is before most people knew the story. They knew it in Florida, but around the country. And I wrote it. I was actually going to do a film. And then I said to my buddy, I said, no, I want to do this as a book because the story is unbelievable. And wrote the book. And, you know, usually I can get stuff on television to, you know, nobody wanted to cover it. They said, oh, it's an old story. And I'm going, what are you kidding? Nobody knows this story. This is insane. This billionaire who's done all these terrible things to young women. And so that kind of got me going on the nonfiction.
Okay. So when you write a book, do you sit down and type it? Do you have
I do not type.
you-
Pencils.
everything's by pencil?
Yes, and I'm going on Substack, and one of the things, Wednesday is going to be our free day. We're going to give free stuff like used pencils that are chewed and wrote and, you know, things
So
like that,
when
but
you
all
write-
pencil.
All right.
yeah.
So you've written all these books that are bestsellers. When you write a
I'm giving
book,
you all these writing tips now. You're going to pay for this.
right?
What?
But do you give your material to an editor? Does the editor dare to edit your work, or since you're so famous as a writer, do they just take in and publish whatever you write?
No. The autobiography, I said, basically, I do not want you to mess with this. I think it's pretty tight, and if there's some errors, but you know, but mostly I have a very good editor, but sometimes I just go, you know, kind of leave it alone. I'm doing a book now, nonfiction book about helping. A lot of men in this country are in trouble, and they want to be good dads, but it's hard for them. I'm writing a book about just being a better dad. And this is another one where I'm going to kind of go, just mostly leave it alone. Don't mess with it too much.
So the most recent book that I have read that you've written that I know of is the Tiger Woods book,
Okay.
Tiger.
Okay.
So what interested you in that? Are you a golfer?
Tragically, yes. Here's my sports reel. This is very quick. When I was in high school, I could dunk. I no longer can. What was that thing about building? The libraries build you up, and at a certain age, they kind of build us down.
Right.
So anyway, you go and you're like, there's a basket 10 feet, and you go like, how could I ever have gotten up there? They're so weird. And then in golf, I have 9 holes in 1.
Wow.
So I don't know. That's true. I know. I write fiction, I know, but that's accurate.
So did you hear after
My
the
wife has 6.
After the book came out, did Tiger Woods call you up to say he liked it or he didn't
He
like it?
did. He called. He said that was so great that no one's ever told my story like that before. No, he did not call.
Actually, it was very well written, I would say. It was very easy to read, and I think it had...
Well, you know what I try to do with the nonfiction? I try to tell story after story after story. And that's what I try to do with the Tiger Woods thing. And I'm not somebody that's going to go beat you up.
So,
I'm not into beating people
but do you
up or
have
tearing
people that help
down.
you when you write some of these books?
Sometimes. You mean like President Clinton? Yeah, he helped a little. Yeah.
So-
No, he was great. You know, the nicest thing I've written with President Clinton now, our third book we're doing right now, Dolly Parton I wrote with, Kwame Alexander I wrote with. And in all cases, they've become good friends of mine. I'm even a friend, you know, my
I'll
agent,
write a book
lawyer,
with
he
you,
doesn't
too.
like being called agent. My lawyer
So-
is a good friend of yours. We
So
went to
what-
law school together.
So who is it easier to write a book with, Dolly Parton or Bill Clinton?
Same. I've never had a problem with any of them. And I've even written a couple with my wife. My wife, Sue, is out there.
She's sitting right there.
My line about Sue is if Sue ever leaves me, I'm going with her.
Okay. So on a given year, you try to write 5 or 6 books, something like that?
I don't think about it, but yeah, more, higher.
Higher.
Keep going,
okay.
higher. Yeah, I'm not thinking. I have a stack of ideas with the clever title on it, ideas, and it's about this thick. And when I'm sitting down thinking about doing another book or another in the series, Alice Cross or Women's Murder Club, I will sit down and start going through the ideas.
So where were you born and were you raised?
I was born in Newburgh, New York, upstate New York, about 60 miles north of New York City. Then my family moved to Lexington, Mass. I went to grad school at Vanderbilt down in Tennessee. And all that's been useful. My father grew up in a Newburgh poorhouse. His mother was a charwoman. She cleaned the bathrooms and the kitchen. And that's all good in terms of just growing you as a human being.
Did your parents live to see your success?
Pardon me?
Did your parents live to see your success?
Yeah. I mean, such as it is, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, they did, and that was great. But my father, it was an interesting thing. When he was going off to the war, he got a call, and this guy said, "My name's George Hazelton, just stick with me for a little bit." And George Hazelton said, "I'm going off to war soon." And last night, my parents, George Hazelton said, took me down to the living room. He said, "George, we love you so much, but because you're going away to war, we have to tell you we're not your natural parents." And then over the phone, George Hazelton said to my father, "I'm your brother," which is pretty cool. Yeah.
Wow.
So that's how my father found out he had a brother. And they became best friends. Best friends. It was great.
So the book that I am supposed to ask you about
Yeah.
is the one that's the most relevant, perhaps, for some of the things we're doing here.
Sure.
It's a book that you have written, in effect, an ode to booksellers and librarians. Mm-hmm. And you have given away a lot of money to support independent booksellers and libraries.
Yeah.
Why are you giving away money to support them?
I don't know.
Why did you write a book?
I don't know. It makes
You don't
no
know.
sense.
Why-
The thing of it is, and I was talking to David Baldacci a couple of days ago, and we started talking. He said, "You know what? We shouldn't even talk about it because we should give away money." That's the way I grew up. It's the way it should be. And shouldn't even talk about it. I was just at Howard yesterday, which we do have scholarships there. We should do that. Historically black universities and colleges, you start thinking about it, a lot of them really need our help. We now have scholarships at 21 historically black. No, who cares? But we should do that. And those schools, a lot of them really need the money. They don't have money for enough scholarships, so those kids leave there with big debts, or they can't even go. So that's and that's why we love that charity, because it makes so much sense.
Well,
I went to Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt everybody needs the money, but they don't need the money.
Okay, so, but you have given a fair amount of money to these causes. But let me ask you, in your book, you talk about the various independent booksellers who talk about how they love selling books. It's the most important thing in their life, how librarians love to help people.
Yeah.
So where did you get the idea for writing a book about booksellers?
It just seemed to be a good thing to do. I did a series, and I'm still doing it. Matt Eversman was the sergeant in the movie Black Hawk Down, and Matt's a great friend of mine. And we did a book called Walk in My Combat Boots. And the mission was that if you were in combat, you would read this and say, Eversman and Patterson got it right. And if you're one of these people that doesn't know that much, but you think you know things, you would read it and go, I was all wrong. I really didn't understand the military. We did one on ER nurses, same thing. If you read it, you would go, yay nurses, but if you read it, you go, oh my God, how do these people survive given what their days are like? It's unbelievable. And the spirit of these books is, it's always going to be that people who think they know would go like, I didn't understand. So with librarians and booksellers, same thing. You don't understand, a lot of people don't understand how hard librarians and booksellers work, how difficult it's become, because there's a lot,
Right? So
This is so cool. I can stand up here and get clapped at, but it's the librarians do all the work. This is perfect. I love it.
So when Amazon came along, it was widely thought that independent booksellers were going to be going away, but now they seem to be having a bit of a resurgence.
Yeah.
I think that's fair to say that they're coming back?
I hope so. Yeah, I mean, for sure for the moment. We'll see what happens. But, one of the booksellers, it was so cool when she interviews, this is it's booksellers, and this is a bookseller. And she said when she interviews, she assumes that the people like to read. But then the question is, do you like to clean toilets? And in this case, because they were by the ocean, do you like to sweep sand out of the store? You know, because it's hard work. And the book turnover, every week it's turnover. And in the library, same thing, the turnover. Plus, you know, just people are taking a lot, you know, with book bans and people attacking, and it's gotten a little hairy out there, crazy.
When you write as many books as you do,
Yeah.
do you have any time to read books?
I used to read, no, you're talking about the 100 books a year. I used to read at least 100 books a year.
Really?
I did. Now I've really slowed down a lot in so many ways.
Okay, so sometimes when people write fiction, I'd like to know whether you actually, when you start the book, you actually know how it's going to finish, or do you kind of work your way through it?
I'm big on outlines. You know, and once again, you never want to recommend to people, but I think outlines save a lot of people from failure. But I'm big. Interesting talking to David Baldacci, and he does an outline. And authors are all over the lot in terms of how they do what they do. But for me, outlines are huge. Do I know the endings? I always think that I do, and I usually don't. Because as you're going along, certain characters become more important than you thought they were going to be. Or sometimes you have the villain, and you go, oh, this villain is good. I want to do another book with this villain. So the villain's going to survive this book, you know.
So is it easy?
We'll get him or her later.
Well, is it easy to write a book with another person? Because you have to fight over who's going to say what, or is it?
Today, I just found this about writing with other people. I got an invitation to another book festival. And I wrote a book with Michael Crichton, who, as you know, died 13 years ago. And they invited Michael and I to the book festival. And I wrote back, I said, if Michael goes, I'm coming. It's a true story. Isn't that weird?
Well, my former boss, Jimmy Carter, once was supposed to write a book with his wife, Rosalind. And after struggling to write a book together, after 6 months, they gave the money back to the publisher and said it was the closest they ever came to a divorce.
No, Sue and I, we've done at least 3 books together, Sue and I. And we're still going along straight. Here's my other thing with Sue, honestly. Every once in a while, there are a couple of hours where I can't stand her, but there's never a day that I'm not in love with her. You know, that's true, it's true. She says it's the opposite for her. She says every once in a while there are a couple of hours where she loves me. Okay.
So you seem like you're somebody that's enjoying your life at this point. You're writing books that everybody's reading. Is that the greatest pleasure of your life, writing, or do you have outside hobbies like golf or tennis or anything?
You know, I'm very family oriented. Sue and I are really, really, really tight. Our son Jack Jack basically calls us pretty much every day. So we're
a writer?
Very close. No, he is not. He's too smart for that. He is smart. So family is very important. We have X number of friends. One of the nice things about the co-writing thing, all of those people are friends of mine, which is nice. We go out occasionally with President Clinton and Hillary. And here's an interesting thing about Hillary. The first time we went, I did not know her. And we were out at dinner, just the 4 of us, and it was like a 3 hours, you know, blah, 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 a lot of, as you can imagine. Everybody there wants to talk at the same time. But she is so warm and funny and down to earth and a listener. And as I'm going, like, oh my God, the people who ran her campaign, they messed up because they had to get that on film. They had to get that in front of, because it's magical. It's just wonderful, wonderful. In the last speech, you know, that's Hillary. You felt her. That's Hillary.
So when you're writing a book with somebody else, do you usually come up with the idea first and then you approach them, or do they approach you? And you get people at cocktails parties saying, hey, I'd like to be your co-author?
They try. Yeah, you'll be in a restaurant, you have like this student, they go, I hate to interrupt you, and you want to go like, well, don't. But you don't, you know. I tell you, this is funny. Sue and I were at a restaurant, an Italian restaurant, which we love a lot, and we had to wait a little bit. And then we're walking down the aisle, and this woman pops up. She goes, I know you, I know you. I go, you sold us our life insurance. And she would not let it go.
So you wrote a book on
I would never sell life insurance in South
Florida.
Florida.
You're writing a book on life insurance?
That's so stupid.
So when you
Am I writing a book with that woman? No.
So when you're writing, where do you keep all your papers? In other words, eventually you're going to give them to a library?
No, I'm not. I throw them out. I tear them. I get rid of them.
Really?
100%. Yep. Not doing that.
And computers?
Evidence is gone.
You don't use any computers for anything?
I do use it. No, yeah, for research and stuff like that, yes. I do use a computer.
And so most of your writing, is it done in your home in Florida or New York, or where do you like to write?
Anywhere, on the plane, when we go home. Yeah, as I said, people are always looking for something that they are good at, and so I love doing it. I don't work I play for a living.
Some writers have something called writer's block.
Yeah,
where
I
you
don't know. I have writer's diarrhea.
So the opposite. You're never sitting there saying, I don't know what to say.
Does it seem like I would be sitting there? Has that been your experience so far?
Probably not so far, no. And
are we going to do this thing in Florida, or are you already going like...
I'm ready to do that.
Really? Okay. All right, okay.
So when you are starting, some writers do this. They say, I'm going to write a page a day and then I'm done. Or I'm going to write 3 pages a day and then I'm done. Do you have something like that?
I do not. I just do it till I don't feel like doing it, which is, but I write every day. I write 7 days a week. Mike Lupica, interesting, who I write with, is one of my best friends, maybe my best friend now. And, Mike was a newspaper columnist. So he does his 1,500 words, and that's it. And he still, even as he writes his fiction or nonfiction or whatever, 1,500. And if you think about it, 1,500 words a day is a lot.
But you write a lot more than that.
Yeah, probably.
But when you write something, and then usually some writers tell me after they come back the next day and they look at what they wrote the previous day, they don't like what they wrote and they redo it. Do you ever rewrite what you wrote the previous day?
100%. Yeah, I always do. Yeah. But not the next day. I'll usually just keep going, and then at a certain point, I'm going to look at 50 pages or so.
When you're writing
and rewrite. It's all about rewrite. It's not for everybody, but for me, it's rewriting.
So when you're writing a nonfiction book, do you do a lot of research before you write the book, or not?
Yeah. The trouble with research, I like to make shit up. And you're not supposed to do that. Like I wrote a book about King Tut, and I didn't want him to die, And so that's a problem. But if you think about it, does anybody, like Alexander the Great, we don't know about Alexander the Great, but people just make up the stuff. Shakespeare, we know nothing about Shakespeare, and there are hundreds and hundreds of books about Shakespeare. They have to be all novels. We know nothing. We know where he was born, we know he was married there, we know he moved to London, we know he may or may not have written some plays. That's what we know.
But you've sold more books than he did.
Well, because they didn't, now I think he's doing okay.
So is it...
He's got a lot of royalties due to him, yeah.
Is it easier to write fiction?
That's a cool idea. He comes back to collect the royalties, right? Yeah.
Is it easier to write fiction or nonfiction for you?
I love the fiction. I don't really love the nonfiction, but I do it. I like the series with Eversman because it just helps people to understand things like booksellers and librarians that they don't necessarily understand. Or we're doing one on teachers now. My mother was a teacher, and people don't understand how hard that job is. It's really, it's unbelievably hard. You're getting pressure from the parents, you're getting pressure from the school boards, you're getting pressure. And the thing of it is with school boards, I don't like school boards in general, because if the job is to get kids reading, give them books that are going to turn them on. Don't give them stuff early that turns them off. It makes no sense. And that doesn't mean dumb down. That just means you have to give them stuff, especially early on. I work with the University of Florida. Right now, the percentage of kids reading in this country at grade level is 43%, which is a disaster. University of Florida has a program. They can get it up into the high 70s, low 80s. It works. We have the vaccine. We can really, and that will save lives. We have it in 13 counties in Florida now. Florida actually, and there are a lot of things wrong with Florida, but they are number 3 in the country in terms of level of kids reading at grade level. They're number 1 with black kids reading at grade level and number 1 with Latino kids. So things are, in that area, book banning, they're not doing so well, but in that area.
And what did your mother teach? Did she teach writing or English or?
In those days, you teach 3rd grade.
Oh, everything, okay.
Yeah, it's a whole thing.
What did your father do?
My father was in insurance. And he would train, he was with Prudential, he would train all their managers.
So do you have any siblings?
I do. I have 3 bratty sisters. Yeah.
And do
They were brats when they were little, and they're still brats. Unbelievable.
So is it hard
I'm
to
the big
be
brother,
all
big old
siblings
brother.
when you're so famous and they're presumably not as famous, or that doesn't not a problem?
You know, the interesting thing, it's not so much with sisters and stuff, it's when you have kids. And Jack handles it great. And you know, he went to a good prep school, and then he went to Brown, and there were a number of kids there who had famous parents, and almost all of them handle it well. It's like, I didn't do this, I didn't do anything, I'm not famous, I didn't, you know, and I'm gonna just go on with my life. Most of them, there was one, I don't want to get into who that was. There was one who didn't. It was kind of obnoxious about her dad, but you know, whatever. Yeah.
Well, some wealthy, famous parents decide to give all their money away, and some decide to give it all to their kids. Have you figured that out yet?
We give away a lot, but as I think I might have said it already, and I was talking to David Baldacci about this too. Big deal. We should give it away. We should, and we do.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, if somebody is an aspiring writer who's sitting here now and wants to be the next James Patterson.
No, definitely don't.
No? But how-
Being a writer, one don't. Being the next James Patterson, three don'ts. Yeah. No, it's just, you know, the thing of it is, you want to do it, you're not going to be able to help yourself. And you're going to write every day no matter what. If you're you have to be an addict, not every writer, but most writers.
Well, were you good in English in college and high school?
Yes. Yes, I was, and math too. I was actually better in math. No, I'm a bright little motherfucker, right? You know.
Okay, and
I used to be. Now, I can't remember anybody's name. There's actually somebody in the audience, and her whole job is, when I go, what's the name of that person, Molly?
well, have you ever run into the editors who turned down your first books?
Well, they would send me books for blurbs. And I would blurb them. That's fine. You want to help writers as much as you can.
Okay, so today, when you do a book, like take the Tiger Woods book, which I did read and I enjoyed it.
You did read that one, right?
I read that, but I didn't see there was no interview of Tiger Woods in that book. You didn't interview him.
I approached his people, and we didn't get very far, and that's fine. So I just decided, what's different about that book is just telling his stories as a series of stories. So it's very readable. It's not like a sports writer's approach, which is fine, but it's not one of those. And even in my autobiography, and I just said it's just going to be story after story after story after story. So I make a joke. I write a page about the normal kind of nonfiction approach to my hometown. And I go, if you're looking for this, you're with the wrong book, because I'm not going to write that kind of, Newburgh was such and such, and, we're not going to do that.
So after you came out with the book, did you say to him, let's play golf together?
With Tiger?
Yes.
Oh, I would hate to play golf with him. That'd be disgusting. I dribble the ball down the fairway, he hits it 340 yards. What's the fun of that? It's bad enough playing with my wife, for God's sakes.
Okay. All right, so
She's irritating as a golfer.
today you have career ambitions beyond what you've already done. What would you like to say, if we're sitting here 10 years from today, what would you say you'd like to have done the previous 10 years?
I don't think that way, but I want to do one with Pope Francis. And I'd like to come, like, if we arrive in the Pope Mobile, cool. Right. We're sitting here, he's with the thing and the whatever, and the Italian translator.
Have you ever met the Pope?
No, but I'm going to approach him and see if he wants to do a novel. Putin, oh my God, to writing a novel with Putin, he knows where all the bodies are buried. Wow, so cool. Please don't kill me.
Okay.
Or poison me. I have guards here, isn't that cool? But I didn't know whether the guards are like protecting you all or protecting me. They're guards. They're nowhere around here. Where the hell are they? Where are the guards? They left.
So later today, after we're done, you're going to be signing autographs of your...
With guards.
What? Autographs. You're going to sign some of the books.
I am going to sign something, yes.
And do you mind signing books?
Politics and prose, right? Yay.
So do you mind signing books, or is it part of what your job is?
No, one of the lucky things, we mentioned Newburgh a couple of times. One of the wonderful things about my life is I still see the world through the eyes of a kid from Newburgh. This is so cool. I mean, look at these people. I'm here, I'm going to sign books, wow. I'm with this famous lawyer, wow. No, seriously, I mean, I'm not blasé about stuff. I really get a kick out of most of it. And it's, people know it's an honor. No, but it's great. It's fun. It's and I'm very fortunate.
So you're still too young to be president of the United States, but
I know. Well, I am younger than Clinton or Trump.
right.
So,
So,
yeah.
but you ever worry
not
about
much.
aging and whether you can
Do I
keep
worry
up the
about
space?
aging? No, I try not to worry about stuff I can't do anything about. I mean, that's, I think, one of my secrets. If I can't do anything, I'll say, yeah, okay, I'm just not going to worry about that.
But you don't go exercise a lot to stay in shape and that kind of stuff, or you don't?
Yeah, I exercise every day, right, honey? No, not as much as I should. We do go out on the golf course and walk the golf course frequently. Very early, though. We go, and they let us out like at 6:30 and stuff. So,
And
yeah.
so are you a scratch golfer?
I am not. I just have a lot of holes in one. It's weird. It's weird. I'm okay, but I
Have
get
you ever
holes.
played with President Trump?
I have played with President Trump, and I've played with President Clinton, and I've played with President Bush.
Who is the best of those
Oh,
three?
Trump by far.
Who's the
Trump
best?
is legitimately, but he cheats. I don't get that. I don't understand. No, and he's a really good golfer. He's a legitimately really good golfer. President Clinton hit some good shots, and he's a lot of fun to be out with. President Bush really likes
41
to
or
run
43?
around fast.
41 or 43?
41.
41.
Yeah.
Okay, so you could beat all three of them in golf.
No. Oh, no. No, I'm not going to get in who I could beat. I could not beat Trump. I could maybe beat the other two.
Okay.
Maybe.
Okay, so when you're looking for co-authors like Dolly Parton or
I
Bill
could beat
Clinton,
Hillary.
so how do you you call them up or do they call you up?
It's a mixed bag. A lot of people now, with Dolly, I talked to her manager, and he said, well, come on down. So I came down. I actually thought we might do some kids' books together, because I do kids' books. And I had an idea for an adult book, which became Run, Rose, Run. And we just hit it off great. We were really good friends. It was really nice. When we were writing together, she called up, and she sang Happy Birthday over the phone to me. And I said, what I wanted to do is say, Dolly, I'm going to hang up now. I want you to call again. You're going to get voicemail, and I want you to sing it again. But I didn't have the guts to do it, so I didn't do it. But no, it's a nice, close friendship. And that's, to me, the most special thing about these things, the friendships that I have with the people that I work with.
So
And never a fight. There's never been really a serious disagreement.
well, we have a couple other former presidents floating around. You haven't thought about writing books with other former presidents of the United States?
I don't think about it. I mean, the thing with President Clinton is sort of an accident, because our mutual friend Bob Barnett represents, and President Clinton reads he's a huge reader. He reads everything. He probably reads, I'll bet he reads 200 books a year. I mean, he really is a reader. And one of the things he reads he doesn't sleep, mysteries. And Bob Barnett was always trying to get him to write a mystery, and he didn't want. He's a slow writer, so it would take him like 10 years to write a mystery. But and then Bob went to, and he said, "Would you like to write a book with Jim?"
So if you go to a restaurant in Florida or New York, can you have a meal without people coming up and bothering you?
Yeah.
No, people don't bother you so much?
They do. It's mostly okay. It's mostly okay. But they will, and the hard thing is, a lot of them are people who have been in wars, and they have a story, and it's been burning in them for a long time, and they want to tell it, and it's hard to say, no, I can't. I just can't write your story, even though you know it's coming from a deep emotional place.
So do you have any regrets about having spent some time in the advertising world, or you
Oh my
wish?
God, he's going back? Can you believe this? This is like, I
but
mean,
think
I
about how
swear
many
to
more
God,
books
this
you-
is like,
you could've-
have
you
you
could've-
ever done those Senate committees where you just
Right, but
badger
you could have
people
you could have written so many more books if you
Just
had.
because we're in Washington, this is not, this isn't what I signed up for. I'm sorry, what
regrets.
about advertising?
No regrets about not having been a writer right out of college, full-time writer.
No, it was fine. I mean, the good thing about advertising was you do learn that there's an audience. And you go in and you say, well, I can do this, and then they test some commercial that you did, and like nobody paid attention, like 0 people. You go, oh, okay. I guess this is a little harder than I thought it was. So that's a good thing, to understand that there's an audience.
So in the advertising.
The other thing about, just in advertising or whatever, is the thing I hate is when people talk about books that are fun to read as guilty pleasures. What is that? Why should anybody feel guilty, especially now, about reading a book? If you, 5 minutes, if you, 4:50, there's a thing here, 4:47, and she's holding up a little thing, 5 minutes. If you go into a bookstore, you should get a little star. You know, you go into the library, you take a little star. You read a book, you get another little star. Guilty pleasures, no guilt. Read as many books as you want. It's okay.
All right, when you want to buy a book,
Yeah.
if you want to buy a book, do you stroll into a bookstore, or do you order it on Amazon? And can you go in a bookstore? Do the booksellers recognize you?
If they don't, I tell them who I am. No, I all of the above. I'll go in. I like libraries. My mother was a librarian, and a teacher. I like all. It's all good. It's all good. Online is good too. They're all and stop fighting. I mean, that's the beauty of the other night. Unity. Yeah. Let's get back. I tell you what, you know, and once again, this isn't Democrat or Republican, but there were a lot of emotional things, actually in both conventions. We watched both of them. And, but in the Democratic, there were a lot of emotional moments, like the mothers with the guns and blah, 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 blah. And I sort of stayed dry-eyed for the whole thing. But I did cry twice during the acceptance speech, and it had to do with unity. Unity. And I just find that so emotional, because so many of the problems that we're having is because we just can't kind of get together and accept other people's differences and move forward.
Well, speaking of that,
and I hope that we can do that, whoever wins this thing.
Have presidents ever called you and asked you to write speeches for them, or you don't do that? You don't write speeches?
No, I don't write speeches. No, I don't want to do anything where 100 people are going to look it over and give me suggestions, which is what happens in Hollywood. And screenwriters, I don't know how people do it, because literally they're going to have 40 people giving them suggestions.
But you won 10 Emmy Awards, so how did you do that?
No, I didn't. No, nobody for the most part.
Right. The President of the United States called you and said you're going to get the National Humanities Medal. Were you surprised, or were you thinking it should have happened sooner, or what?
I'll give you this is a funny thing. So I got the call. They told me that I was going to get the call, because they wanted to make sure I would accept it, you know. So I got the call, and the line said, "Please hold for the president." I said, "Which president?" I figured I'd make a little joke, you know.
So you enjoyed it. Which president actually gave it to you?
President Trump.
Okay.
Yes, you're in the White House. It's very cool. It was hard to get some of the little brown people there, but they went.
Okay.
Yeah. No, look, it's an honor. It's humanitarian. Okay, I can accept that. I try to be a humanitarian.
Okay. So as you look forward to what you hope to do the rest of this year and next year, how many books do you have planned? 3, 4, 5?
More, higher.
More.
I don't, a lot, you know, and there's some cool ones coming. I have one coming with Viola Davis, which is particularly, it's a really good book project. She's, really great to work with. What else do we have? Well, I love the Jane Smith stuff that I do with Mike Lupica. Right. That's a particularly strong series, I think. And Renee Zellweger is signed up to play Jane.
So you're
David E. Kelly.
You're the lead-off person at the National Book Festival this year.
Tragedy.
Obviously, you have a big crowd. So I hope you'll come back some other time when you have another book out.
Yeah. No, I love it. I used to love it when they had this on the mall, too. That was cool.
Good.
But, it rains and stuff.
We had to get it off the mall because
so
sometimes it rains. And
oh, no. I get it.
All right,
anyway.
So you're going to be signing your books.
You got 51 seconds.
In 51 seconds, you're going to sign your book.
What do you have a second thing? 3 seconds, 5,
Okay, so
What?
The highlight of your life, other than this interview, has been what?
My bride.
Your bride.
My
okay.
bride.
And can she stand up?
Our son.
Stand up. There's your wife. There she is. Okay. And how long have you been married?
We've been married 27 years.
Okay. And every day's been great.
Not every day. Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Look, I want to thank you for coming here and enlightening us about your life, and congratulations on your
this
great
is great.
success.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.